the challenge of writing this movie is not coming up with stuff because we're trying not to fabricate stuff. It's like trying to figure out what should fit into the story because it's based on Raiden's life, and what can we actually fit into the story that tells the narrative that we need to tell whilst being true to the real story, whilst knowing that we have a certain budgetary limitation based on, the fact it's indie film.
Welcome to Off the Lot, the podcast for filmmakers building careers outside the studio system.
We're your hosts, Ken Kavatoff and Anthony Epp, and this is where we break down what it really takes to get indie films made.
Let's dive in. All right, welcome back to Off the Lot. This week, we're very excited to sit down with the filmmaking team behind one of the most talked about films at this year's Fantasia Film Festival, which just wrapped up in Montreal. With us, we have Houde and Dakota Daulby. Harrison is a Canadian-American director, writer, and actor. His feature directorial debut, Tight Lettuce, is a bilingual English-French dark comedy that just won the Golden Audience Choice Award, Best Quebec Film at the Fantasia Film Festival. And Dakota Daulby is a writer and actor and director who has built a body of work spanning prestige drama, westerns, and horror, with credits including Longlegs, very memorable death, by the way, Shogun, Billy the Kid, Mayans MC, Big Sky, and Apple TV's Smoke. Dakota not only co-wrote Tight Lettuce with Harrison, but he stars as Joel, the film's lead. Inspired by a true story, Tight Lettuce is a dark comedy about a young man's unshakable love for his father, a magnetic heroin addict who he films in a desperate attempt to save him. Guys, it's so great to have you here. Let's get right into it. The movie is fantastic. It's funny. It's heartbreaking. And it's also just like really, really, really well made. And I know that it's a very personal story, but it's also not your own family story. So to kick things off, I would love to just talk about how did you approach adapting something that's this personal while staying true to what happened, while also taking the creative licenses to tell such an engaging story?
Great intro. Thank you. That was awesome. I was like, wow. Yeah, we do all those things.
You do. You're really, you got it covered. Yeah.
No, Dakota, maybe you and I should start a little bit at the time that Raiden reached out to us, because that starts with like the development of the film.
Yeah.
So, Raiden, who the story is based off of, it's his perspective, it's his life that he wanted to put on screen. And Raiden and I went to middle school together. So he reached out to me on Facebook, and I ignored his message because he said, "I want to make a movie, dude. I have an idea." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Like no one, like everyone has a movie idea, and
Everyone, yeah.
Dakota and I are writing so much stuff. Like I think we have 17 projects. At the time, probably a little bit less because this was 3-4 years ago almost. And yeah, we just, I ignored Raiden actually for like quite some time. Finally got on a phone call with him after 6 months of him persistently reaching out. And I remember it being like pretty late, like 11 p.m. And I was like, okay, let's just get this out of the way kind of thing. Like, so I can say we're good. And then he told me, "Oh, I want to make a movie about the relationship I have with my father." And I was like, "Oh, well, that's something that we could potentially write." Like, I think writing about a relationship is a lot easier than like, this crazy thing happened. So I told him, "Well, tell me about, you and your father." And we talked until I think 1 a.m. nearly. And then I was like, okay, let's get off the phone. I want to call Dakota and bring him in to write this, and with our company, Vesperia, and start developing this. Like, let's just start getting on a call every week and hearing more about you and your dad. And Raiden also had like tons of footage of his dad, and because he'd been like documenting him. He also went to film school in Vancouver for a year or two. And then, he had like letters and photos and just so much material. And then obviously 1,000,001 stories about, just crazy stuff that would happen with his dad. And he opened up to us about how he felt about his dad's addiction and just where he saw it going. And just so many details about his life. He was very open about sharing and why he wanted to make the movie. He just really wanted, one, for himself to kind of tell his dad how he feels, because I think he struggles with that sometimes, and finding the right moment to do that. And then also he had the goal of, if I can just change one person with this movie and help them, then it'll all be worth it. So I think it's a very admirable thing to take on, and it felt very easy to take something like with that message on, and something so powerful, because I don't know, I think if it didn't come from Raiden, I don't think we would have ever pursued this sensitive of a topic, to be honest.
Yeah, and then we originally started developing it as a short film, was the first kind of intention, and we had done that for like a year. So we would sit on, Zoom with Raiden, kind of similar to this, and like Harrison says, and we would just talk about his life, and he'd show us videos, and we'd ask questions, and we ended up writing this short film called The Goat Pen, which we raised about almost 100 grand for, and we were going to go do this kind of like very high budget short film and try to get a big actor, and then use that short to then pitch the feature and get to do the feature film, and that was kind of our whole game plan.
Well, actually,
how we could,
wait,
get a feature
before that, even
yeah.
If you even go before that, Raiden was going to put in some money. He had like, I forgot how much. It wasn't a lot, but it was like $10,000 or $20,000 that he was willing to say, I really want to make this. And so we were going to just do it that way. And then Dakota had met another financier that like loved the idea. And he was like, well, if you guys get a big star or something, then I'll kick in the other, like, I think it was 60,000. So we had like nearly 100,000 to make the short at a certain point.
Wow.
So that was kind of our game plan. And then Harrison got onto Facebook, and there was a producer out of Quebec named Serge Desiree, who Harrison had met in Cannes when he made his first short like 10 years prior, and he was looking for films. So we shot over, Google Drive full of all our projects, and here's everything we have.
That was like,
and they went through
December of 23, and then I think January, February 24. Like, I got on a call with Serge, and I don't know if anyone else was on that call. I think maybe Roxanne was on that call, and they were like, okay, like, we want to make this movie. We want to make it like we're interested in this. And I remember Dakota being like, I don't know. I don't think they like actually have the money. Like, I don't think this is actually going to happen.
It's too good to be true. Like, it doesn't work like
this.
Yeah.
And we've done, like, Dakota and I have been through it. Like, we've been on so many phone calls, like so many garbage phone calls where people like, false promise stuff. And like, I was always trying to meet people on business apps. Like, we were just looking to get our first movie made basically in any way possible. So this was like, okay, maybe this is the path. Like, there's so many unknowns of like how to get the movie made. And we were just exploring every possible option for a long time. And then, then this phone call with Serge happened.
So we're on the phone call with Serge, and we have this short, and we're kind of still talking about the short. And then on the phone call, Serge is like, well, can you guys make it into a feature? And we're like, well, yeah, that's the goal. That's what we want to do. And he's like, well, how fast can you write it? We're like, a couple months, probably. He's like, okay, well, write it in a couple months, and we're going to shoot it in the winter. Like, and this was like January, February. And he's like, we have to make the film by October. It's like when his year end of his business ends, and he has to make the movie by
August originally. He wanted to shoot.
Okay, well, whatever.
No, it's just funny. That's the timeline
before year end, though, basically.
Yeah.
Like before his year,
basically.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, well, and he's like, before we do all that, you guys are going to fly out to Quebec. He wants to like vibe check us essentially and see if, he can make a movie with us. So he flew us out there. We had this kind of like crazy weekend with them. We did some location scouting. We got this truck that he has got stuck in the mud, and we had this kind of like bonding experience trying to get the truck out of the mud. And like, it was just like a really great time. And we all realized like, oh, we can all like hang out with each other and like get along and potentially make a movie for the next 2 years together. And we just enjoyed each other's company. And, Vital Productions, Vital Films, it's a family-owned production company out of Saint Adele in Quebec. And, their daughter and their son, they work there. And it's this like family kind of unit. And they wanted to have that experience when making this film. And we just felt like we really fit into that. And we all got along well. And we decided, we just did it. We were like, okay, great. So we got the contract signed, and that took a little while to figure that stuff out, but we figured that out. And then Harrison and I would just like start hammering out pages. I was in New York doing an acting class, and Harrison was in Japan. So I'd wake up before the acting class, and like I'd write 5 pages and shoot it off to Harrison. Then he would wake up and he'd write 5 pages. And then we just did that like for a month essentially, and built out the first draft of the script. And
isn't it so much
you,
better to write when you know that something's going to be shot, but you also have a deadline?
Yeah.
You're like, no, we actually have to get this done. Like,
Well,
it's great.
yeah, originally the original deadline, it wasn't an official deadline, but like we were writing the script before the trip where we like signed the contracts was under the guise of like, come out to Quebec for the weekend and like see the location and like and make sure that it works for you guys and that the location like makes sense, because we know it's like from Vancouver Island where I had grown up and that's where Raiden is based. So make sure it like kind of that we have the locations here and that we can make it work. And then we're like, okay. And I remember being like, Dakota, like, we need to deliver the script before we get on that flight in 30 days, I think, or maybe it was a little over 30 days. And that's when I was like, had this Japan trip and Dakota had to New York. I think you were in an acting program at that time.
Yeah, I did not. I was doing a Chekhov program.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, like, let's do this. And so, yeah, that's when we were like writing back and forth five maybe more than 5 pages a day each, like just like getting it out. And I remember we finished it, like we went through it, I did a quick edit like the night before we got on the flight and like sent it in the morning. And then we were like landed and it was like, guys, okay, yeah, like thank you for putting the script together before you came out here. And then that was like, I think part of it was the right energy that they wanted for sure and makes sense.
Yeah.
So then of course after that we were revising it for, I don't know, we had like 4 months, I guess. May, June, July, August.
I mean, Ken, you had an interesting question at the beginning. It's like, this is based on a true story, right? So the challenge of writing this movie is not coming up with stuff because we're trying not to fabricate stuff. It's like trying to figure out what should fit into the story because it's based on Raiden's life. And, Harrison had mentioned earlier, Raiden's been taking videos and photos of his dad for years. So we had all this archival footage that we could potentially include. But obviously it's an indie film, so there's limitations and there's budgets and there's locations we have to take into account and actors and all that kind of stuff. So, we were like kind of trying to figure out what can we actually fit into this story that tells the narrative that we need to tell whilst being true to the real story, whilst knowing that we have a certain budgetary limitation based on, the fact it's indie film. So I think that was the challenge, was like, how many locations can we combine stuff? Can two characters now become one character, or can these two people that operate at different locations now be at the same location? So 90% of it's all true. Like it all happened. As an example, it's like the boat location and the winery. Well, those are two separate places. We put those together. And the drug dealer and the guy that runs the winery were in two separate areas, but now they're in a relationship and they're together. So like those people existed in their singular formats, but not in the way that we had told them in the story. So that was really fun and challenging and like it's just an interesting experiment as like writers to like craft a narrative out of someone's life, which is kind of an exciting but nerve-wracking thing to do because it's like it's their life.
Yeah, you're also trying to be faithful to them, right?
Exactly. So we needed to be sympathetic and honest and like we want to do it justice for Raiden, for the real guy, for the real family. Like we don't want to.
And then, so just to clarify, so Raiden and his dad live on Vancouver Island, or are they in Quebec?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're not French Canadians in real life. So that is one of the liberties that you've taken then.
Yeah. Well, good question.
We can dive into that.
Liberty is a. I mean, we shot it in Quebec, and the company that made it, Vital, was like they're a Quebec company, and they're bringing us to Quebec to make the film. And they know the Quebecois market. They know it's like a different film market than Western Canada or like the rest of Canada, I should say. So we learned a lot about that, which is quite fascinating. We didn't know this, but 80% of Canadian film box office, like Canadian content, 80% of the box office is Quebec.
Yeah.
Which is insane because it's like, well,
it's wild.
It's not even relative to the population of the rest. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's quite a drastic number difference.
Yeah. And French Canadian is specifically, right? Like it's like that box office is like, we're not even talking about just like, it's a Quebec market. It's like very, like the French Canadian market for film is
Quebec.
Is that.
Quebec
films,
right? Yeah. So
they don't like French.
One of their,
I'm sorry.
Quebecois.
Yeah.
Quebecois.
We've learned this, trust me.
So, I mean,
now I have too.
Like my last name, my dad's side of the family is French Canadian. They're Quebecois, and like I do have that in my family, and my dad can understand French. I went to like French immersion when I was very, very young, private school, but then went to public school and lost all my French because I took Japanese in high school. Sorry. But yeah, I was like, okay, they were like, if we do this in Quebec, it has to be partly in French, in Quebecois French. And we're like, okay, like that's fine with us as long as it's okay with Raiden. So let's just check with him. And he was like, yeah, like that's fine. It doesn't change the story, does it? And we're like, no, not really. Like this could have been done in Swedish. Like it doesn't matter. Like, you know, the language doesn't really matter to tell the story and keep truthful to the story of it and the relationships and the message of the film. So
it basically proves that it is universal, that people in every country around the world are going through the same thing and the same relationship with family members or other loved ones. So it actually, it strengthens your thesis that this is a story that needs to be told.
Totally. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. You know, like Vital gave us this opportunity, and that comes with certain parameters, of course, because they're financing and they have a market that they're trying to sell to. And then us as filmmakers, we go, well, how can we use that to tell our story, like you just said, Ken? And especially as a Canadian story, like heroin addiction and drug addiction, specifically heroin, is a bi-coastal issue. It's everywhere in Canada. It's not, I mean, obviously not just Canada, but it's a Canadian story. So we're talking about Canada, and it's obviously very big in BC. It's becoming very big in Quebec and Ontario, like everywhere. So I think it gave us a unique opportunity to truly tell a Canadian story and talk to a Canadian issue that, like you said, millions of people are dealing with, not just English speakers and not just French speakers. So that was kind of the blessing in disguise. Then when this thing came about, is like, well, we can reach more people because we're telling a story that can hopefully can resonate with both English and Canadians. English and Canadian, English and
I know what you did. There you go. Yeah.
Francophone and Anglophone Canada can both understand and enjoy the film, and hopefully kind of bridges them a little bit more. Because I mean, it was kind of surprising to me how separate they feel, or how separate some of these things are. Yeah, so I thought, oh, that's like interesting film to be able to have both languages in it. I think it makes it more Canadian in a lot of ways. And it's really nice.
As universal as it comes across, it also, like, just hearing this, having watched the story over the weekend, having watched the movie over the weekend, I can't imagine it having been made anywhere else, though. That's the funny part about it, is that it feels like a film that had to be made exactly where it was. Like it almost feels like the geography and everything lend itself to that story. And I know it could have been made in Sweden or in Vancouver Island or whatever, but it really felt like it belonged where it belonged, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like crazy enough, the place we ended up filming the majority of the movie, where Bodo has his trailer and the dock and Nana's house, looks like eerily close to the real place. Yeah, so that was kind of cool. Like it almost felt like, because Harrison and I went out to Grandma's place and met the real life Bodo on Vancouver Island and spent a day with them out there, and you know, it looks pretty close. Like we were like, oh, this could be Grandma's place without a doubt.
Yeah.
Well, I guess just on that note, like you met Bodo, and I mean, this guy, you know, for everybody that will eventually see this film, like he's a character. I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't know anybody like him, you know, and so as far as like casting to cast Bodo, how did you end up getting? Is it Emmanuel Bilodeau? Yeah. How did that come about? Just like traditional casting process, or like did you?
I mean, so
nothing's traditional in Quebec.
So for all the Quebec actors, I think we need to touch on all the Quebec actors. Like Serge and Vital have like quite a big network of like the Quebec star system and like the stars in Quebec. And so they were kind of just suggesting people to us like that they thought would be a good fit, because we don't know who's famous in Quebec. And so we actually had someone else in mind that I remember we went for dinner with him, and I was just like, oh, he didn't even seem like excited to like talk to me. And I was like, okay, like if you're a good actor, like you should at least pretend to like the director of the film, I think.
Yeah. That might help you get the job.
He was like super serious. And there's no doubt this guy is like a very wonderful actor in Quebec, and he's also a star in his own right and just doing his thing. And I think he like passed on the project. Or like something happened. There was something where it's like, oh, it's not going to work out with that actor. And I was like, okay, like that's fine. Like it wasn't like an end of the world for us. I was like, but we don't have our Bodo. Like, and Dakota and I were like, well, who's going to be the guy? And we're fighting several challenges, which is they have to speak English and French, and they have to look like they could possibly be Dakota's dad in the film. Like it has to meet these criteria, which the pool is already a lot smaller when you get into actors here that are comfortable doing English and French when like the older actors, I think, especially. Mm-hmm. So then we got this tape from Emmanuel.
Yeah, we got kind of probably the craziest tape I've ever seen in my life from Emmanuel Bilda. Then just to prefix this, like Emmanuel's like also quite a big star in Quebec. So I don't think he's taped an audition in 20 years, if ever.
Right.
Right.
Wow.
Like, so we got this tape from him, gracious enough to give us a tape. And it's just insane. It was like him in the backyard, filmed like like filmed vertically, and like very grainy. Like there's nobody reading with him. He's just kind of like walking around, like partly shirtless, just like saying these words out loud to himself, and like so non-traditional. And like just like we watched this, we're like, what the hell is this thing? This is like this doesn't make any sense. But then the more we watched it, we're like, oh, actually, it's kind of genius because it's like kind of like the real guy. It's as if Bodo himself did an audition tape.
Yeah.
And we watched it over and over. And we're like, kind of looks like the guy. He looks like kind of looks like the real life Bodo. He has the same mannerism. He has the energy and the enthusiasm that we need for the character. And then Harrison started to dive into Emmanuel's previous work, and he has a comedic background and does a lot of stand-up comedy in Montreal. So he has the comedic chops that you kind of need for this character because he has to be likable, and he's a very funny, charismatic guy in real life. So we wanted the energy and someone that's not super serious because Bodo's not a very serious person.
Yeah.
And he just had all these things that made sense. And, Harrison got on a call. Well, you can talk about it. You got on a call with Emmanuel and ran through some stuff and talked to him. And he just had the vibe that we wanted.
Yeah. He's just super kind and easy to work with, like easy to talk to and direct, I think, over a Zoom call. And I think that's when he told us, he's like, I hope the tape was like, okay. Like, it's like, I don't really do that. It's like, okay, like, yeah, fair. Like, I was like, as long as you can run these lines, like, and take some direction, then like that, then you're good. Like, let's do it kind of thing. And as long as you trust me and trust the team and I can trust you, then that's all that kind of mattered in that moment, because yeah, he was the guy in many, many senses. Like, he had the look, like Dakota was saying, he had the look, he had the mannerisms, he had the right energy. And I think the comedy chops for me, like in my opinion, like his comedy stuff that I saw was like kind of like a beacon, or like kind of like, oh, this, like, you can't ignore this part, because to me, that's something that I could tone down, or like, it's like he can go there, so he can come down and be serious as well when needed. And like, it's like, yeah, it just makes him likable, which the real Bodo is. And we needed this character to be likable because it's like he's doing some not so like,
well, these types of films, and just touch on this, and I also want to get into like the making of it, but like these types of drug addiction stories, they're so easy to just become like super dark and dreary, and about either becoming an addict or really, really like focusing on like getting sober. But this is not exactly either of those things. It's just like we're in the moment. It starts in it, and it's really just about this father-son relationship. And yeah, God, the pains that Joel will go through to maintain his relationship with his father and sacrifice almost everything else in his life. It's a beautiful story, and it's very, having known family members, not family members, but sort of like friends, families that have gone through similar situations. And then, like you said, Dakota, just like this drug problem that we have in Canada. I think it's a really great attack that you've made on this story, and it's handled really, really well. So,
yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I think that was a thing that we realized, and we were kind of shocked by the more we spoke to Raiden, was what made his situation unique to us and made it really interesting to us was that relationship. It's not only based on resentment and anger and all this stuff that I think typically we find in a relationship with someone that has a heavy addiction. There's a lot of resentment, a lot of pain that exists there. And of course, that element is part of the story, but it wasn't the entire narrative for Raiden. He had a lot of love, and he had so much fun with his dad. And they just have this beautiful father and son bond despite his dad's addiction, which we thought was really unique and shocking, to be honest, because there's so many videos and times where we just are laughing our asses off over the crazy shit his dad is doing and they're doing. And like, it's not like we're like crying every time, you know what I mean? We're definitely crying a lot in moments, but like we're laughing and like having a good time and going, holy fuck, all this crazy shit your dad does that's hilarious, to like objectively funny. You know what I mean? So I think we wanted to really include that, and it was important to us that we showed both sides of that relationship. Yeah. It was really true to their dynamic.
Yeah, well, you handled the tone really, really well, to go from laughing and falling in love with this guy, but then also, you know, just the heartbreak and crying for him. It's this roller coaster, 100%.
We're so in it, but like I like to believe that that's kind of like the strength that Dakota and I might have as a team, but also as like co-writers on this, because like I have a huge comedy background and like I've done a lot of over the top sitcom stuff and like just tons of absurd comedy stuff. And then, yeah, Dakota's doing super dark, dramatic.
He's the most serious man on the planet.
Yeah.
No. You've done some dark stuff, Dakota, but that's for sure.
Yeah, he's always playing dark stuff, which is like, okay, so he's like in that world and like, yeah. So I just feel like those two things that we're both each familiar with, like kind of come together to create the recipe for this film that kind of worked. So I like to believe that's part of it.
Well, Joel sort of is us, right? Like the audience is the witness to what's going on, but Joel's sort of like taking us, because you don't want to make light of any of this, and you also don't want to over catastrophize the moment as well by saying what a tragedy all of this is, because it isn't. It's kind of it's a mix of family dynamic that probably is very similar to lots of other people, other than, you know, add the addiction element to it. But it's a delicate balance between over catastrophizing and then also just making light and making it into that kind of comedy that we're not really sympathetic with the characters. And I feel like Joel, or Dakota, you playing Joel, you sort of bringing us all into that world and letting us see it kind of through your eyes or through Joel's eyes.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Anthony.
So let's talk about production, because
yeah, sure.
So you've written the script, you've gone out there, you've signed the contract. This is what, like early 2024, like February?
Maybe like May.
Okay, by May. And then like how quickly were you into pre-production and production?
I mean, we spent the time writing the script.
August, we were there.
And then we went in August.
Yeah, we were there by August. I think we did pre-production beginning of August. We went out a weekend early to party at Fantasia. So we went because the Fantasia was ending. So we're like, we want this movie to play at Fantasia. So we got there a weekend early. We partied up with Tanya, who ended up programming our film this year. So that paid off. And we just like, we're like, okay, we have a great story. Hopefully she doesn't mind. But we're
no, that was after production, dude, because that was during post.
Oh, fuck, you're right. Sorry, that was the next year.
It's been a whirlwind, guys. It's been a crazy...
I'm planning those 2 years.
But no, we went in August for pre-pro, and we had a chalet out there, thanks to Vital.
But didn't we go early? I thought we went early and what did we do?
Oh, we went to Montreal. We just went to Montreal for a week because we were shooting in Saint Adele. So we're like, this is 2 hours north of the city. So we just went to the city and like hung out in like Montreal to party and hang out in...
That's right. We just partied. That's right. We didn't do anything.
We just hung out in the city and wanted to explore Montreal together. And then we went to Saint Adele and like hunkered down in the chalet. There's not really much to do in that town other than like
nothing to do in Saint Adele.
Hike and like go to the lake, but like we're not doing that every day. So we just like hung out in this chalet that was really in the woods. Like we were like on a dirt road. And like, so the only thing we did was like go to the grocery store and cook. And then we played like pool. We had a pool table in the basement of this place. So that's like kind of.
And watched movies. We watched a lot of movies. Yeah. We'd go.
Yeah. The Vital office was like 10 minutes away and he has an awesome movie theater. And yeah, we watched a movie like every single day.
He gave us the code. So we would like work all day. Then we would go there in the nighttime and like we'd be the only ones there. And we just put a big movie on.
That's
the screen
amazing.
And watch like,
yeah, we had a personal
That was cool.
That's old school.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah. And then we would drift our rental car on the dirt road because we figured out we could do that with the rental car. So we got like super. At a certain point we're like, oh, we need to stop doing this because it's getting a little crazy.
Yeah, I think part of it to being like, if we like turn a corner in this car and like hit a deer, like or like have a bad accident or something, like we are so screwed.
we're going to be in trouble.
We have to make this movie in 2 weeks.
So we just hung out and sang Adele, and like, we just like, I don't know, we just like, it's our first feature. So we just like, you know, and it's a low budget thing. So we like, for the trailer, we went with Mario, who was our production designer, went and collected garbage one day and like got a bunch of shit and like, just like helped out where we can. But then we're also rewriting and we're casting and we're, you know, finding locations, and it was a great time. Like,
Dakota spent 2 weeks rehearsing.
I was rehearsing
Manuel,
with Manu,
and like figuring out, you know, especially the English stuff for Manu. Like, I think that was a helpful thing for him. And then I was like shot listing the whole time. Like, I realized it was a bigger, what do you call it? It takes a long time to shot list 120 pages versus 10, you know?
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and on that note, so Serge is the producer of the film, but he's also your cinematographer, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
So and he's part of Vital, is that correct?
Yeah.
Or is that
he owns Vital?
He owns Vital. Did they finance the film, or how?
Yeah.
What was the financing structure? With
no tax credits, no Telefilm, no SODEC, which is like the funding source in Quebec. Like, the reason behind not doing any of that for them is they don't want to wait, and they don't want the notes. They want to make the thing that they want to make, which is super admirable, and they don't want to wait 2 years for the funding source, because it just takes a long time for the grants. So they just greenlit the film. Like, they have tax credits. They use tax credits and gap finance the tax credits like any other.
They use like provincial and federal tax credits, correct? Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah. And then the rest is just their own cash and investment. So they just can greenlight films. They've been doing it for a while, and they do a lot of documentary stuff as well. So yeah.
Okay, great. Well, congrats on not having to go through the Telefilm process. I totally. I just did that with my feature, and so we're actually wrapping up. In the next 3 weeks, the feature is going to be delivered. But yeah, same thing. We didn't go Telefilm. We had private financing plus tax credits. So and then you're in control, and you get to make the movie that you want to make.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was such a blessing. I mean, that's what a gift to be given as filmmakers from them. So
it kind of doesn't happen that way, though, you guys. Like what you just went through. Like, somebody called you up who you met 10 years before, and it was like, I have millions of dollars that I want to spend on your movie. Can you do it now?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It sounds fucking crazy. And that's exactly what happened. Like, I'm not making it up. Like, that's literally the phone call. Like, and he said it like
it's a great roadmap to follow, right? Like, teach this at film school. This is how it works, right?
It's like, and I think if any, like, I remember even being on that call, he must have seen my eyes like light up or something. 'Cause he went, I know I'm fucking crazy, but like, I have this much money and we're doing the film. And it's like, okay.
It's just like Serge is like a maverick, you know, he like, truly is. He just, and nobody knows how he does it. I don't know. Like, we don't know. He's just the type of guy that, like, it's like, I swear to God, nobody knows. Like, it's, we all have, but like, it's like Tommy Wiseau of Quebec. He just does it somehow. But that's literally what happened. He's like, they felt their whole thing is to make they're vital films, right? So they want to make vital films that matter to them and resonate with audiences. And it's not about like them making maybe the most commercial thing. It's about making something that can impact people positively. And I think they just saw that in our story, and they saw the relationship and the dynamic and the fact that this movie could positively impact people. And that's important to them because their background, like Harrison mentioned, is documentaries. So they're trying to tell real stories and stories that are impactful for people. So our movie just like fit that for them, and perfect timing because they wanted to make a film.
Right place, right time.
Totally.
Well, it's that whole idea of putting you put a line in the water when you're fishing. You put a line in the water, and you never know when it's gonna. But you can't do anything unless your line's in the water. So that has to happen first.
We built the boat, and we somehow had a fishing
boat.
Like,
exactly.
All
the right lure, but that doesn't that never guarantees anything. But also, it won't happen if you don't have it.
And we went to the right lake that day and caught the big fish. It's like, it's just the rest, the recipe or like the way that it happens is like, it's a lottery pull. And it's like, we're very grateful and understand that. But like, we've been playing the lottery for 8-9 years. Like, it's like, you don't win the lottery.
No, exactly. That's the thing. Nobody knows the years it takes to make an overnight success, right? And it's we're all grinding it out, and everybody's path is different, and it just comes down to, like you said, like right place, right time, and these fishing lines. And I'll try to come up with another metaphor at some point. But so you shot in August, September of 2024.
Shot October.
You shot in October for how many days?
We had 20 days of shooting.
Okay, great. Yeah.
We wrapped.
And how did you find that? I mean,
sorry, did we shoot October?
No, we
finished. I finished my birthday.
Yeah.
Because I finished I turned 30 October 10th, so we finished just before that. So we shot September, wrapped very beginning
on my dad's
October.
birthday, which is October 4th.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
So 20 days, and did you find, was it enough? Or you could always use more.
I have an opinion on it,
but yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, it's a bit of
it was great. Like 20 days was enough. Like that was like, this is going to be the perfect amount of time. It's a little bit tight, but like we're going to make it work. And then like day 3 happens, and like the producers come over to me and they're like, hey, we got to talk. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? They're like, we can't keep doing this. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, we went overtime. And I'm like, no, we didn't. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on? And it's like, well, we have to do 10-hour days, including rap and blah, blah. And I was like, what? Like, no, the whole conversation was 10-hour camera days. And like the AD and I built out the whole schedule together with 10-hour camera days in mind. So after day 3, we're now kind of losing an hour, 2 hours a day. So I like to say we had 16, maybe 17 days of shoot, not 20, because over the course of the other 17 days of shoot that we had, we're losing an hour or 2 every day.
Yeah, you lost some time.
Yeah. But that's like, at the end of it, it's like, that's filmmaking. It's like, that's probably, it's just is how it is, and it's fine. And we made it work, and we had to, of course, we had to cut some scenes and changes like during, but we did have the benefit of we were shooting 4 days a week, not 5. So we had like 3-day weekends every week, which was like kind of a really cool thing for a feature to have.
Oh, that's interesting. So it was a 5-week shoot, really?
Yeah, we had a 5-week shoot.
Yeah, I guess like the way they explain it to us in Quebec, there's like 2 tracks you can go, I suppose, and like one of them is like a 4-day week, which somehow aligns with the schedules that they have with the actors there. It's a union based thing. Is that how that's right? Is that right, Harrison?
Something like that.
There was
there's a couple like whatever technical rules, and either they do it was better for everybody for some reason with the crew and stuff to do a 4-day week, and it had to do with the union stuff and just the way that the not workers' comp, but like whatever it was, it made sense. Yeah.
Anyways, we got 3-day weekends for some reason.
Yeah. As a director, I mean, that gives you an extra day of prep on the weekend. That's awesome.
For sure. Yeah, no, it was great.
We had one 4-day weekend because it felt there was like a holiday too. So we were like, what are we going to do this weekend? We're like, let's shoot a short film. so we got like Adam was our first AC, really cool guy. He came out to our chalet, and we all like shot a short film on the weekend. We bought a bunch of shit from the dollar store. We made this weird little horror movie just for fun.
Adam lost the footage.
He lost all the footage.
Oh, you're kidding.
And I had cake batter like poured on my face because I forgot what it was. I was like some demon or something. I had all this cake batter poured on my face through like a funnel to make it hit my face. And it was like, I almost suffocated. Like, it was awful. Do not recommend having cake batter like poured in your face. It was not pleasant.
Noted. But wow. So you shot a short film and it doesn't exist. Wow.
Doesn't exist. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's amazing.
What was your crew size then? Like for something like this, how lean did you go?
Like an indie thing. We had like 30 something people, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
And budget. So crew size, but also like budget range. Are we in the low 2, high like up to 2 million ish?
We're under 2. We're under the 2.5 million deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's including
great.
So it's like our cash.
Yeah, but including it, like your total budget would be under 2.5 million.
Yeah.
Okay,
like
good. No, but that's a good size then. For an indie. And then crew wise, so like I guess because you guys aren't from there, like this is up to Vital to put names in front of you as far as all the department heads. Did you interview, or did they already have sort of a set crew that they love working with
They
for
had
narrative
other
features?
people, so we just had to trust them.
Well, for like first AD, for example, and I think maybe the production designer, but pretty well everybody else. Like it's like a team that they work with a lot. So we're kind of handed most people, but they were great. I mean, like I mean that I don't mean that in a bad way. They're really great overall, and
Mhm.
a very young crew, and we're very eager and just cool, really cool people.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, post production. So you wrap October 4th. How long was post? Where did you do it? How did all of that work? I think Harrison, you co-edited the film as well, right?
Yeah, I love editing, and I didn't really expect to co-edit the film. It just kind of happened. Um, ATN is awesome. He's like their Vitals editor in Quebec, and because we were using they use DaVinci, they use Resolve to edit, and they use the DaVinci suite like to do all their stuff, which I had never used. I was like a Final Cut boy like for a long
Yeah.
time, way past the days of when Final Cut was cool. I just kept using it, and I was like, okay, like yeah, I'll learn DaVinci and edit like with ATN, and then DaVinci has like I think the best remote in for like remote editing that I've ever seen anyway. Like it's incredible. Like I could, 18 and I could edit because I went back to LA and then I was in Japan for like months because we edited for like, oh my gosh, like a year and a half almost because
Holy cow.
they're
Really?
just doing so many projects that ATN was on ours, like not full time. You know, it was like he's doing their documentaries, he's doing their other features. Like he's kind of like, you know, just doing so much stuff. So he was like on ours for a certain amount of days every week. And then that's why I stepped in to help like co-edit as well. Cause I was like, you know, we just need to get it done. So, yeah, no, it was sick to remote edit. Like DaVinci was really cool. Like I would be able to make edits and I like to work at night. Like I'm such a night owl. So I would work from like 11 PM till like 3 in the morning and make like a bunch of timelines and edit certain scenes together. And then like throw these ideas and send ATN like all these crazy Facebook messages like in the middle of the night being like, this is what I did here. And like, what do you think of this? And like, I want you to try this, like when you do it tomorrow or whatever. And then I'd be like asleep or whatever. He'd like do all these edits and then like and then I would just log in and be able to see them. Like it was pretty cool, like to be able to work like that. And of course, as we got like, once we had like an assembly and the first several edits done, then we started to get on like Zoom calls more and did like 3-4 days a week together. And like we were there together on Zoom, but like it was like in real time editing and just working on it together, which was like a really cool experience. And yeah, it took a long time because of the amount of projects they're doing. And then, yeah, it just is the way it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And along the way, then, like Dakota, you were weighing in on cuts as well.
Yeah, when they had cuts to see, and I would put my notes down
Kind of
along with
hid
everybody
stuff
else.
sometimes. Like we were like, don't watch this one or the next one. Like we'll send you the one after kind of.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, Dakota was involved, and then we kind of did that with the whole team though. Like even some of the producers, so Serge and then Sandrine, who's like the creative producer. Like sometimes only Sandrine would watch it and give notes, and then Serge had like more fresh eyes to watch the following one. So we kind of did that for. I mean, I don't remember how many. I think we did 12 or 13 edits before we picture locked.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
it's such an interesting part of the process too, is like maintaining fresh eyes and trying to protect some people on your team, you know, from seeing the movie too much. And like I just went through this as well. And one of the things I'm still trying to figure out is, as a director, how to maintain fresh eyes, because I ended up co-editing
Yeah.
my movie as well. And I think like Harrison, at a certain point,
Oh
it's
my
all
God.
just, it doesn't, you don't know. I'm like, I don't know if this is working. Like, I think this is good, but it's like, I did a horror film and I'm like, this isn't
Yeah.
scary. Is it landing? I have no idea. Is it even emotional anymore? I don't know. And I kind of get obsessed. No. But 100%, you're like, oh my God, what have I done? This is what a waste of time and money. Like, but
Yeah.
it's probably not true. There was an interview with Steven Soderbergh on the Team Deacons podcast,
Okay.
where he was basically saying, he's like, that's the one thing, like even at this point in his career, he's still trying to figure out, because he edits all of his films as well. He's like, how can I maintain fresh eyes for as long as possible to be honest in my reaction to the film? And I don't know, I have to, for the next film, I have to figure that out, because it's really hard. Once you lose it, it's gone.
That's the thing with everything, with every stage of filmmaking. It's like the writing is the same way too, where like how many drafts do you go through before you realize like the draft is not where it's either you've taken some of the freshness out of the story by trying to cut things, or even acting, right? Like take 80 is gonna feel very different than take 1, and take 1 sometimes was great, but probably take 5 was probably the best one, or take 3 was probably the best one. And it's that whole thing of like how at some point your objectivity is gone, right?
Yeah.
I've never done 80 takes, so I don't know.
Thank God.
Dakota's the one take.
I'm David Finchering it all for you.
Yeah.
So okay, so you co-edited, you got through it. So this was now, say, like, let's just say end of October 2024. You went for a year and a half. You finished the movie. So we're talking sound, color, everything earlier this year. Is that right?
We kind of picture locked last summer, like probably August last year, so 2025. And then that's when we were at Fantasia and like the closing party last year. And we're like, hey, like we reverse psychology Tanya a little bit, the programmer. We're like, you don't want this film. It's not genre. Like,
That's a good question. I was going to say with Fantasia, like it's an interesting film for Fantasia, right?
Yeah. I mean, Tanya,
I think they do some counter programming often. And for them, I think this was like the counter programming of the year. Tight Lettuce. We're kind of the only film in Fantasia that was more like of a drama leaning type film. And it's not really, I mean, it's like, it's genre in a sense, just stylistically, I suppose, but it's not a horror film by any means or anything like that. So I think that we were which was kind of cool to be the film of Fantasia that was counter programmed.
The way it fits in Fantasia is like, it's quirky, it's super niche, and it's different. Like, it's like not like the home for this film is like kind of difficult to find because it's like, it's kind of strange in many ways.
Well, let's talk about that. So you just had your world premiere at Fantasia. You guys won the Audience Choice Award for Best Quebec Film. So congratulations on that. Do you have distribution? How does that work with the Quebecois market? Because I don't know anything about that side of things. So,
we just learned way too much last week.
We learned a lot last week.
But no, Vital has their own distribution arm. So they have Vital Distribution. So they have the film, and then their goal is a theatrical across Canada, of course. And then right now they have Quebec, and they only have they have some limited screens. I think it's like 7 screens or something. Is that right? 7, 6 or 7?
7 or 9. Maybe I think it was 9.
They have under 10 screens right now in Quebec. And it came out just over the weekend. So we don't have our numbers yet, maybe today. But
it actually, okay, it's already released in Quebec. Okay,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
Quebec theatrical came out August 7th, and it's in like Cineplex and a bunch of independent theaters. So Quebec City, Sherbrooke, Montreal, and then we did a screening in Saint Adele at the Cinema Pine, which is an awesome theater where we shot the movie. So yeah, like right now it's in these theaters. For some reason, we found out a lot of the bookers or the people that run some of the theaters in Quebec really don't like our movie, which is interesting to find out. And they're in control of putting your movie in the theaters. So it's kind of a crazy experience to hear that. And then it's like, well, the critics seem to love the movie. We have great reviews. The audience obviously loves the movie. Like, we won the audience award at Fantasia, and it's like this kind of barrier to entry that's holding us back right now. But they're working on it, and they have other relationships with a lot of independent theaters. So that's kind of where the movie seems to be living right now. And we're waiting for numbers, and hopefully we'll get a Canada-wide theatrical, and we're just kind of waiting to hear about that. The way it works is at least here in Quebec, it's if the movie does well over the weekend, then Monday or Tuesday, they decide to extend the film for another week. And then if it does well, then they extend it for another week. It's kind of crazy. And there's obviously limited, even in Quebec, there's a limited amount of screens for Quebec films because we have Spider-Man out right now. We have the Odyssey out right now. So it's like they need to reserve their screens for the huge blockbusters that are like, you know, taking up the theaters and bringing people in. And then, yeah, it's kind of luck of the draw. Like I remember like, they're like, oh, I hope it rains this weekend so people go to the movies because it's our opening weekend. It's like, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, oh wow,
of course it's sunny.
It's all these things that, you know, just like filmmaking, you have no control over all these things. And then when your movie comes out, it's the exact same. It's like, oh, you have no control over who's playing your movie really, and is the weather going to rain so people go to the movies and see your movie opening weekend so that you get another week in the cinema. Like, it's just, it's insane. It's actually crazy to learn some of this stuff.
Yeah, how have you navigated this? Like, because again, like the distribution side of things is new to all of us filmmakers, right? Like you only really experience it when you make a movie.
I mean, it's not totally our job because we're not distribution, but we obviously want the success for the film. So it's put us in we're in that position of like, well, how can we help? We don't really have relationships with theater owners or bookers or anything, but we might be able to set up like a one-off screening in Vancouver or LA or New York. And yeah, it's an interesting thing. So I think that I don't want to speak too soon because we're still processing it. We're still in the middle of it, but that's like something that we're exploring as, you know, plan B. Like, let's start setting up independent screenings for this thing and do more festivals. And then maybe with that attention, then it goes back to theaters. Like, I don't know, there's so many branches of this tree where it could, you know, kind of lead us.
I think on like just a curiosity standpoint, it's as filmmakers, it's a really interesting thing for us to see and learn and understand that whole part of it. Because like you just said, Ken, it's like you kind of hear about it as an actor or a writer or director, but you don't really get to experience it until you're in it. So we're kind of in it at the moment. And it's, in a way, it's like, what an amazing thing for us to learn so early on in our career as filmmakers.
Yeah.
To understand that process of it.
And Vital being major part, obviously being the financiers and also then being on the distribution end. I mean, they have a very big stake in the film's success too, which is maybe different from how we always viewed distribution, where distribution is sort of they pick it up at the end. They're not really weighing it. They don't have a stake in the financing or the development of the film. They're more on saying, is this a film we're going to be able to do something with? Vital's already invested, right? So they're coming in and they're kind of doing what they need to do. Do you have a sense of where they see it going or where they see the film going to?
I think like, I don't think any of us know just yet because it's so early in the process, but I do think we have a really great film and it's getting critically good reviews and audience reviews. And, you know, we have certain aspects that I think are holding us back right now. One is timing. One is the fact that it's English and French. And like maybe in the Quebec market, they wish it was more French. In the English market, they wish it was all English. So like it's a unique film in that sense. Mm-hmm. But with that said, I do think we have a really great film. And I suspect that we're going to find more success in the indie route and the indie theaters. And like, it's going to be more scrappy in that sense. We're not going to get, you know, the easy route, which is, you know, we're not used to that anyway. So it's fine. So I think we'll find our success in the independent theaters that like champion those types of films and amongst crowds that like a type of movie that don't just want to go to a Cineplex and watch the blockbuster. Because that's kind of the crowd that goes to that. Not all of them, but like, you know, it's the easy place, but it's the indie kind of, you know, film theaters that like these types of stories and people want to go and check them out. So, and we've been having like where we're finding success in Quebec is in those types of theaters. Like in Quebec City, Cinema Le Clap, it's like they're a big supporter of us and they're really championing our movie and giving us good time slots. And, you know, instead of like Cineplex, we have like a 2 p.m. and a 9 p.m. slot. You know, we get the split slot because you have the Odyssey and you have Spider-Man that are taking up the good times. And it's like, well, no one can go at 2 p.m. and no one wants to go at 9 p.m. You know what I mean? So it's like, we're not set up for success with that. But, you know, in the independent theaters, they're giving us like the 6 p.m. and the 7 p.m. slots, which are helpful because people can go see the movies and want to go.
That's a really good point.
It was very interesting to like see that firsthand, like last week. We're still like trying to understand all of that. But yeah, we're learning a lot.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think your movie has quite a little bit of a long tail to it as well, right? Like it's got like there's a long tail to this. Like it might not be a, you know, blow out the movie theaters in a weekend blockbuster style thing, but it feels like a very word of mouth type film, right? Like it's the kind of
I
thing
think
where
so.
you're going to watch it. Like having watched it, you know, obviously in the last couple of days, I'm like, oh my gosh, when this movie is available in Vancouver, I'm going to tell everybody they need to go see it.
Cool.
So
yeah, that's the kind of conversation we all had the other day over dinner, which is like we all feel like that's kind of where this film is leaning and where it's going to find an audience, which is fine. It's like it's exciting for us too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about like Peanut Butter Falcon while making this. Like the title Tight Lettuce is also kind of inspoed from Peanut Butter Falcon, the movie. So it's like just like a quirky title that doesn't really explain the movie. I personally love that. And then it's like that movie had a theater release that wasn't that successful. It went to Netflix. People loved the film. Netflix put it back into theaters.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, like there's a path like that exists too.
Yeah. What would you say, like, if you were looking back on this whole experience of making this, because this is your first feature, the first feature that you guys have worked on together, and is this kind of the first feature for Vesperia Films?
Yeah.
What are you kind of taking from this whole, like, from putting this film together? Obviously, no two films are the same in terms of how they get put together, but what do you feel are like some of the big highlight lessons you can take from this film to your next one?
It's a great question because like we've been talking a lot about that. That's kind of been the theme of our last month is like, obviously enjoying the process, but then also trying to be intelligent in the sense of like what could we do different, and because we're prepping our next film and we want to bring a film again to Quebec that we've been developing. And I think a big thing is, and I'll just speak for myself, is like I think it's important to have an anchoring name in your story, right? And we have that in a sense with the French actors in Quebec. Like they anchor the film in Quebec, but it's a very small market, right? If it's not successful in Quebec, then these names don't travel outside of Quebec, right? It's only the one little area. So everybody knows this, right? And it's easier said than done, of course, but it's something that I think we're going to put a lot of emphasis into on the next time we get to do a feature, which hopefully will be soon. And we didn't have full control over that. Like that wasn't necessarily what Vital wanted. They had different priorities. So it's not like we didn't want to do that for this film. It just ended up being the way it ended up being. But, finding a name that can market us into a larger audience. So in the States and into English Canada, of course, because we're English filmmakers. So that's important to us. Putting everything in a contract, I think, is a lesson that we've learned. Is like everything.
Yep.
10-hour camera days. 10-hour camera days can be put in your contract, and the amount of days of shooting, like things like that. It's like, oh, these are things you don't think about when you do your first movie if you're doing your first movie with a new production company that you haven't like maybe worked with before. So it's like, if we were to go do another movie with Vital, I think it'd be, we would know the parameters that they work in, and we'd be able to like crush it even better, and it would just be like an even better experience. So that's like one thing that we learned. But also it's like, like if we go work with a new company, it's like, oh, everything can go in the contract, and probably should. Like,
yeah, it'll take a little longer to sort all that out, but it's 100% necessary, and you have to protect yourself and also, I mean, protect them in some way too, because you never really know what could happen or what's going to happen.
Just to add one more thing on the writing aspect of it, a thing that I've learned as a writer that we struggled heavily on Tight Lettuce was our first act, and like the part that like the part of our movie that suffered was like we didn't really know. I think in the writing and then while we were making it, we didn't really know whose story it was. Like the perspective kind of flipped a little bit, and it was hard for us to determine who this movie was about ultimately. And I think that's where our movie struggles a little bit, especially in the first act. So something that we would do differently, and we've talked about, is like we're being very clear from the get-go. This is this person's story. If we're making a one perspective narrative, this is this person's story, and really hammering that out and like really workshopping that, especially at the very beginning of the film, so that like we don't struggle with that, because the opening I think is so important in terms of retaining attention and getting people into the story. It's like the middle part of the story, like, yeah, that's where we can have fun. And I mean, of course, like where you can kind of mix it up, and we certainly did with Tight Lettuce in the editing, but like being very, very clear on the first act of whose narrative this is a big lesson that I've learned, especially as a writer.
I've learned the same lesson. And it's like, I think if people go watch Tight Lettuce, it's the first like 20 minutes that people are like, what the fuck am I watching? And then, I don't know, this is kind of the general sentiment. And so it's like, then people sink into the story and they're like grabbed. And our third act, I feel, is very strong. So it's like, oh, we just like struggled with the first act. And that was our edit. We like did not understand the first act in the edit until like maybe the 11th cut. And I said we did like 13. Like, it was like, we could not crack it. Like, we were like trying so many different things. It just like nothing worked. And it was partly because of the writing and just like how, and then just what we discovered in the edit. Of course, I think that's always going to happen no matter what. There's that famous saying, you know, you make 3 movies, the one you write, the one you shoot, and the one you edit. So I think that's also very true. But yeah, no, we learned a lot about that perspective. And then we had to like reshoot stuff, but we didn't have the budget to reshoot stuff. So we like made an extra monologue, and Dakota was doing like voiceover from his phone. And luckily, like what kind of saved us is like we have camcorder footage in the film because he's making it in the film. And it's like, well, that we can go shoot. Like that's easy. Like we can shoot that anytime.
That's free.
To wait 8 months because Dakota shaves his head in the film. So it's like, okay, like the logistics of waiting for his hair to be close enough. And then it's we shoot the beginning of this film. Yeah.
That was the first thing I thought when I saw it, was just thinking from a production side standpoint. I was like, aha, that's where we could that's where you can fill in some story points right there. Cause it's like a camcorder is, well, you probably have one, everyone has one. And if you're shooting it as is, it edits seamlessly in there. It's supposed to look grainy and weird and not like perfect resolution and stuff. And I was like, that's where the reshoots come in, right?
It saved us. And really saved us.
On a technical point, probably would never write a car scene in again in an indie film.
Oh my God, never shoot car stuff if you don't have to. It's awful. It's like,
it's the worst.
It's not a fun experience for anyone other than
the worst.
I as an AD, I'm always like, that's the worst thing to do. Yeah.
And it's just the worst, like especially on an indie film where you can't really do it the way you need to do it. So, and we had so much car shit in this movie, and we're just like, why the fuck did we do this? Because it's just a pain in the ass, and we're on radios, and the radios don't work, and we kind of have to steal certain stuff, and it's just like,
directing car scenes. Okay, we did all of our car stuff first. Like the first 2 days was all of our car stuff, which is also kind of a terrible thing, and I don't think I'll ever do that. If we have car stuff, I'll never do that again, because I'm trying to bond and build a relationship with the actors and like get them to trust me as a young director, and then like vice versa. And it's like, we're doing all this car stuff, which is very technical and like almost impossible to direct, because like, it's just like, you know, I'm in a different car following, the monitor's like fuzzy half the time because it's like losing.
I was just going to say, exactly. And it loses the signal.
It loses connect.
We're like,
we're not going to spend time doing playback. Let's just do another take, because it takes so long to like do it in the first place. Yeah. And then it's like, oh my God. So we just did that for 2 days and did all the car stuff. And then it's like, I think after that, like Emmanuel was like, who is this director even? Because we haven't even been in the same place really. Like, you know, it's like kind of a weird way to start a movie as well, with like actors I haven't worked with. Obviously, Dakota and I have a fine relationship. We've been making movies together for 10 years.
Dakota's like, he's good. Trust me, he's good. Don't worry, Emmanuel. Like,
Like,
but like obviously still frustrating. Like, it's just frustrating. The whole, like, for everybody, that process is not fun.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just the worst way to begin.
I mean, we did have fun, but like, it's just technical and slow. So it's like you're starting your first 2 days in a very difficult place, and you haven't, like, you don't have any rapport with the crew yet. Like, there's so many things. Yeah. Never do your car stuff on day one unless you're like absolutely.
It's tricky too, because also like stage work, I don't think looks very good. Like there's some, volume car stages that do work out, but then most of them that I see on TV, like, do look awful. And I'm like, okay, so what do we do? Like, even if Hollywood can't make car, what's that?
Like, we have a sing along, and we did like 2 takes, and we're like, this doesn't work. You can't see anything. There's all these reflections. partly because we had a truck that was like, what is it? I forgot, 1960,
The
19
Ford
whatever,
thing.
F-Ford,
Yeah.
F-100, I forgot the year. But it's like that truck has a bubbled front window. So it was awful for reflections. It made it so hard to like shoot. And I was like, we shot one scene that was deleted with like a normal car, you know, just like a regular like compact sedan or whatever. And like, no problem, totally easy. We have a back seat. We can get in the back seat with the camera. Like that's so much easier.
Like, no back seat.
Meanwhile, we fought for this Ford F-100 for the movie because it's like a character in itself because we have so much car stuff. And that was also the thing that was like the like kind of ruins a lot of the car scenes. We're like, oh fuck, like okay, but it's like you know, we don't know that until we're there doing it. So
no,
it was
it looks very relaxed in the film, so it's fine.
Yeah. So we reshot the sing along on a green screen like a week later because we didn't like the stuff that we got because it was like hard to kind of like see what was going on in our opinion, and even with a color grade, we're like, I don't really know. We reshot it all, and then we like never used that. We used the original oneer in the actual truck. So it's like, oh, like it ended up just working out anyway. And like we wasted, I think we cut a scene to be able to redo the truck stuff. But to us, it was very important because we also had spent a lot of money on that song. It's like our big sing along moment. So we're make sure this.
I was gonna say you obviously had clearance for that song ahead of time, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we're like, well, we have to shoot this because if that doesn't work, then we just wasted all this money. So like,
Well, so just to, you know, as we're heading here to the end, and we don't want to take up all of your time today. We know you guys are busy. I want to just talk about like what's next for you and Vesperia Films, and like what else are you up to right now? What can you tell us about?
Okay, we'll tell you our 17 projects.
Yeah, go.
I mean, we had another film actually premiere also at Fantasia that we just solely produced, called Term. So it's a short, one of our shorts that we produced for a friend of ours, Chadwick Prowse. It stars Dean Norris and has some voice work from Mark Hamill and Minnie Cohen. And
oh wow,
so that did really well. And we go to Sidges with that next, which is kind of cool. So that's kind of an interesting proof of concept. And we've done a lot of these like proof of concept projects where we shoot the short and there's a feature attached. And you know, we had that it's been successful for us twice now. Tight Lettuce being kind of a version of that. And we had another film called Vance that we did that on that got optioned by Michael Hurst, who created Vikings and Tudors. And we've been developing with them for about 2 years and just signed on a really wonderful director called Rachel Goldberg to that. So she's attached to direct that. And we've just been in the development process on that, which is exciting and it's coming together. So those things are happening. And then
amazing.
We have another feature that we're about half financed on, kind of a total different film than Tight Lettuce. It's a liminal space horror movie, kind of in the vein of a Backrooms type vibe that we've been developing long before Backrooms came out. But that's helpful, I guess.
Yeah.
Called Meet Me at the Grand Staircase. So it's like a very low budget indie horror film that takes place in a mall about a YouTuber that goes missing, and his kind of estranged brother and eccentric best friend go in search of him in the mall and discover the mall doesn't operate on time, and there's a creature waiting for them. So it's kind of a cool horror film. So we're half financed on that and hoping to shoot that end of this year as our kind of second feature. Total different scope to Tight Lettuce and something totally different, which would be cool.
Would you plan to do that in Quebec or would you shoot it out here?
Right now we have a mall confirmed in the greater Vancouver area, but nothing's like totally locked in, but they're like willing to, like, it works.
Is it that mall that I'm thinking of in Surrey?
Probably not the mall you're thinking of. But yeah.
So we're just locking financing on that. Hopefully that comes, like the rest of it comes in.
And then we're writing the next Quebec film. It's called Fault Line, currently titled Fault Line. And it's like a music drama, like kind of like our comps are like Coda or Sound of Metal right now. So we'll see what happens there. What else? Oh, I have Meltdown. That's like a Tokyo.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I speak Japanese. It would have been easier to make this movie half Japanese. So I have like several projects that I want to get going in Japan. And one of them is like an underground DJ party scene movie with an ensemble cast. And I say it's like the mechanics of Kids, but current day, present Tokyo.
Okay,
so that's
cool.
Yeah, so that's something that we have a little bit of money for, and I'm pitching, and we're trying to get going. And we had a good meeting this week, so we'll see what happens. But that's kind of maybe the next thing we make after Grand Staircase, like make that next year in Tokyo. So
Are these all co-writing projects then? Are you guys both writing them together? Are you writing them separate? Like
some of them are
all different.
Yeah, they're all different. Yeah. Like some of them are like Grand Staircase is like a director, writer friend of ours, Casey Baum, and he's from LA. And then Fault Line, we're co-writing. Meltdown is like my little baby because I spend a lot of time in Japan. And then what else did we mention there? Dakota has a couple projects he's writing. Vance is the one with Michael Hurst's company is Dakota's baby. Like we produced the short, but he's the writer director. So he's writing that right now. And then there's like we do so much. Like it's hard to like
And then we've been producing. It's hard to get money for features, so we've been producing quite a bit of shorts as well, just to like keep working with other directors and developing other people's stuff.
We have a project with TDE Films coming out that we just finished to post like right before Fantasia. So like kind of watch out for that. Top Dog Entertainment. They're like a really big record label, hip hop label in LA. So that's kind of cool. We got to do a narrative short for them with a director down there. So
wow.
And then we're just finishing another short in post called Lily of the Valley that we shot on film in upstate New York. So we're just like in the coloring phase on that, and sound's done. And it's this kind of really interesting film about these girls that live in a commune that have never seen a man before, and they kidnap a guy.
Oh wow!
And do an experiment.
We have so many things.
So
we also have a pirate movie that Edgar, like we did this short and it went to Sidge's last year, and Santa Barbara was the premiere, and like he's writing the feature for that. So we're developing that, and it's a very cool like
it's like a Robert Eggers, like if Robert Eggers made like a pirate film.
Yeah.
Robert Eggers meets
that's kind of the vibe, the easiest way to explain it for sure. But no, Edgar is a great director, and we've been working with him as well on that. And I don't know, we have a.
That's really great. So you guys are producing, you're writing, you're acting, directing, you're doing it all, and not only in Canada. I love that you're branching out internationally and just relying on your contacts that you've made too. Just having worked in the industry for so long, and figured that out. That's really great. It's inspiring.
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, we just like because we've had our company in Canada now for like 8-9 years, and we just incorporated in the States too. I just got my Harrison's dual. I just got my green card. So
great.
We're trying to work both sides of the border.
That was a long process. I was not born dual either. So just making the move to LA was like a whole thing. And
that's a big thing. Well, so look, this has been like a fantastic conversation. The movie is great, no matter what those theater bookers are saying. I really, really, really love the movie. Dakota, I don't think I mentioned it, but like tremendous performance. Like you crushed it. Really, really great job. And no, you guys, like it's inspiring. It's so motivating. I think people are going to love this.
Thank you.
So great to see everything you have. Where can we find you? You're on Instagram. What are your handles? What can we?
Easy. Harrison Houde, Houde, and then Dakota Daulby, Daulby. And then our company is Hesperia Films.
Okay, great. And we'll put a link to everything too when this podcast comes out in the show notes. Guys, thanks a lot.
Thanks for chatting with us. And
thanks so much.
Okay, so that's it for this week's episode of Off the Lot. We want to hear from you. If there are any topics you want covered or any questions you'd like answered, please email us at podcast.offthelot@gmail.com.
You can also find us on Instagram and YouTube. Our handles are in the show notes. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. And share this with your friends. See you next week.